I'm Sylvia Henderson, host of Idea Success TV. I keep forgetting who I am.
I do that to people.
And my guest today is a high-powered, high-action coach, oh God, I'm going to mess you up again.
CatStancik.
Thank you. Because once you have CatStancik in the head, you can't think of CatStancik.
Because I'm a chick.
I'm not even going there. So, believe it or not, this is like serious business, but we don't take it seriously.
Yeah, you can have fun in business.
That's right. You don't take it seriously. So, I wanted to take this time to talk about something that Kat mentioned to me, and she calls it the bottom line blueprint. Discover how to stop working so hard, which I think most of us want to do, to hit a pesky revenue mark and finally profit more with less effort. Man, that's a mouthful. Okay, what all that mean?
That means you don't have to work as hard to bank more profits.
Okay, so I keep hearing work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
That's kind of an old, tired.
Yeah, I mean, we all think we're working smarter, right? And we all don't want to work harder, but what nobody ever shares is how the hell to do that.
And so that philosophy, where'd that come from for you?
Of no one sharing it, or to focus on the profits.
Yeah.
Because revenues don't pay the bills. All the gurus out there, watch out, I'm bothered right now. All the gurus out there talk about hitting the 6 and 7 figure mark, right? No matter where it is you are in your business. And people are like, all right, I just got to make money, Well, the problem is those gurus also want you to spend all your money. Right. And yes, you have to spend some. I get it. That's how I make a living too. Right. But you have to be really smart and strategic as to where it is you're putting your investment and not treat your business like an ATM. Revenues don't pay the bills. Profits do.
Excellent.
If you want to have 5 vacations a year, you don't pay them out of revenues. You pay them out of profits. So what is it that you're putting first, and where are you putting your focused attention to make sure you have more profits, not just revenues? Because it's great. I actually knew someone, $2 million in her business, hadn't paid herself in 6 months.
Yeah, that's very common.
And it's
for
common.
An entrepreneur. Yeah.
It's so common, and it's just like, whoa! You did not get into this game because it feels like a game sometimes.
Well, it's like a job if they don't pay.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, it's worse than a job because you're working long-ass hours and you're not even paying yourself.
Yeah.
And you can't take that to the bank, right? You can't take that, I did a good job, A+, gold star sticker, and that's not going to pay your kids' tuition. That's not going to provide the freedom of money and time that you got into this for.
The other thing that I find as I talk to and consult with people, with solo entrepreneurs, is because I'm on the spectrum of life of how will I afford later care? How will I afford care in the later parts of life? That takes some savings, and that takes putting things away, too.
Well, because in corporate, it's easier. They do the 401k, and they do have some contribution, and they take it right out of your paycheck so you don't feel it, so you know what you're taking home every month, right? That's the profit. But people aren't seeing it that same way of, hey, if I make $10,000 a month, that doesn't mean I get to spend $10,000 a month, right? You got to put the information, you got to put the money towards the things that are most important to you. So what's most important to you? There's no life without you in it. So you got to pay yourself first, and there's other things you can do to prioritize, and you don't have to spend $10,000 on a website. Right, that's not what's going to make you money. What's going to make you money is going out and networking. Is going to go out and meeting people. Is going to go out and get your message in a bigger way out to the world. So you got to really understand what is it that you're doing, because you might be avoiding doing things because you're afraid.
There's a thing about taking that leap to something you don't know yet.
I always say the money's in the resistance. Wherever the resistance is where the money's going to be.
Okay. So how do we stop working so hard?
So there's one number that you can focus on.
Ooh.
Yeah, right? And it's actually number 1. You focus on one goal, one strategy over the next 90 days.
Okay.
Right? So I just read that up to 60% of your revenues can be created in the last quarter of the year, which, people are like, what? You can create up to 60% of your revenues? It's because it's the end of the year. People love to hustle to meet those goals that they set 9 months ago. So instead of creating a year-long calendar, right, where you got 12 months, you create 4 versions of that within a year time frame.
Okay.
So that you don't have to wait till the next year to start again. If you fucked up royally, right, and you didn't hit your revenue goals, you don't have to wait until December.
Right.
You get to do it in March. You get to do it in June, July, right?
Okay.
And so really focusing your attention and narrowing it down actually creates more impact, which creates more action, which creates more implementation, which creates more profits.
Cool. And it keeps the energy up.
Exactly. So you keep, because you're accomplishing things, right? And you get to layer on top, right? So instead of saying I'll do better, now you're saying I'll do even better and go on top of whatever it is that you've achieved. So kind of like a cake, right? You're layering things on top. And who doesn't like a larger cake to eat from?
So all that stuff about have a 5-year plan, have a 3-year plan, and all that is kind of out the door?
I mean, you have to have a vision, right? So you have to understand what you're going to do, but that 5-year plan isn't going to feed you now, right? So you need to know what the destination is. So I always compare it to, if you've got 2 ships in the dock, and you've got one that has a captain and crew, and they have a destination of where they're going to go, how often are they going to meet their destination? Versus a ship that has no clear direction of where they're going. There might be a captain, and there might be a crew, not necessarily. So if you let both ships go out of the dock, how many of those ships are actually going to reach their destination?
Yep, the one that...
Right. Exactly. But if your destination takes you a year to get there, you're not just going to say, okay, I'm going to get there in a year. No, you got to understand what you're going to do each day to get you closer to that destination.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of times it's easier to focus on, something that's short term that layers on top again to get you to that long-term ultimate goal.
Yeah, well, and even taking it from the ship to just when you drive someplace for... you've got a 4-hour drive.
You got pit stops.
You got
you got to pee.
And oh, wait a minute, I didn't get off that exit. You've got to pivot back.
Right. Turn back around.
And get back to the path.
And there's things that you want to see on the way, right? So it's kind of, I had a friend who did this analogy, and it was wonderful. If you're trying to get from California to New York, right, and you're like, I want to see, the...
I don't know, something in between
so
there.
Bad with geography.
So am I. But
right.
say I want to go to Yellowstone.
Right, and so you go to Yellowstone,
yeah.
and okay, fine, it takes you a little bit out of your way. And then you're like, oh, you know what, Arizona would be really cool. Okay, it's not too far out of the way. But then all of a sudden, in a few weeks, you're in Mexico, and you intended to go to New York. Now, that doesn't mean that there weren't things that you could have checked in to make sure if that might have not actually been your ultimate destination. But you got to check in, you got to know what the pit stops are along the way and create those milestones, right, that let you know you're on track.
Yep. Okay. And so you said, I speak for a living too. The bottom line blueprint. So is there, you talked about the what, but and the how. What's this blueprint?
Right. So there's a few tricks that I love to leverage with my clients. And here's the thing with me. I love to keep things simple because we love to complicate things because it makes us feel really important about ourselves.
And we're busy. We're busy without accomplishing.
Yeah. We love to complicate things for no reason. I see it all the time. We love to get in our own way and make things seem more impossible. It's the mountain out of a molehill kind of thing. And so I'll look at you and be like, yeah, no, it's not. It doesn't have to be that hard. So one of the things you can easily do is automate. People forget that some of the things you do on a daily basis can absolutely be automated, and they're afraid of the cost. But $10 a month, and it saves you 2 hours a day.
Yeah, I was gonna say, come today to automate is just so accessible.
Right. It's not complicated. Yeah. But people are afraid of making the investment. But the problem is sometimes they invest in so many things. So the flip side is they invest in so many things, they forget to cancel those subscriptions or they forget to combine them. So there's 2 ends of the spectrum here. But if you're still doing everything in your business, the opportunity to delegate and automate is there for you. Now, you don't ever want to completely release your business, but that's something else.
I heard delegate, but don't abdicate.
There we go. You always are in control. And I made a $13,000 mistake when I abdicated. Done
That's
for you
happens.
does not mean that you don't actually have to still be involved.
Yeah.
You always have to manage your business. You have to manage people, right? So you don't have to actually do the work yourself, but you still have to oversee. You're still in control, and that means that you'll still be driving the results in your business. The other thing I want you to do is leverage your time, right? So a lot of people are always on this one-to-one, right? Especially people who are new in business. And I absolutely think that you should do one-to-one work, right? Especially if you love it. But the way to leverage your time is to go from one-to-one to one-to-many. So understanding how to create a program based off of what you do brilliantly and how to automate that. Again, there's that word. And that's the systematized component of my system, right? So I simplify, strategize, and systematize.
Okay.
So when you systematize, you document, you delegate, and you automate. Those are the 3 things to focus on. And that right there is how you'll leverage your time. Once you simplify and strategize, the way to leverage your income and leverage your time is to systematize. And the other thing I want you to do is actually focus.
Huh?
What? Yes. The shiny ball syndrome. Yes. Close the distractions on your computer. Yes, it's fun to get those Facebook notifications, but guess what? That's not making you money. You posting in Facebook day in and day out is not making you money, right? You have to be strategic. Time chunking, right? Like understanding that when you're into a certain groove, right? So if I use today as an example, you're not just saying, okay, each person come in and come in this Friday for 10 minutes, come in next Friday for 10 minutes, and come in the Friday after that for 10 minutes. 1, I'm going to tell you to F off. 2, you're in a groove right now.
Yep.
You're in an energetic vibration, and you're able to go through things more quicker and being smarter about your time and get more done in a day instead of doing some stuff every single day. So time chunking is really, important. And the third thing there is committing. People are so afraid to commit. Yeah. They actually don't commit to their goals. They don't commit to what they want to do, and they half-ass things. And I get
They
it.
think they're committing, but
They're not actually doing it. I mean, how many of us, we do it every year. We set these, stupid New Year's resolutions that we never get done. I mean, the reason people make 60% of their revenues in the last quarter of the year is because they haven't fully committed. And they're like, oh, shit, all of a sudden the end of the year is approaching and I need to start showing up, right? But if you think about the times you actually accomplished something in life was when you actually fully committed to doing it, right? And we've done it time and time again. And you've done it a million times. You learned how to tie your shoes. You learned how to ride a bike. You learned how to swim, I hope, right? Like, there are things you've done in life where you fully committed. You already have the secret to success. Stop trying to fuck it up and make it hard and difficult.
sometimes it just feels like people aren't hungry. What's it? Les Brown goes, hungry enough.
Right. Yeah, because when do you appreciate a meal? When you make it yourself, or when you worked hard to have the money and both of those situations, you appreciate the meal. You worked for the dollar that got you the money that got you to be able to pay the meal, or you made it with your own 2 hands. There's something about it that just tastes better. It tastes like success, right? But if you go to McDonald's, right, I'm sorry, they're great on their automation side. I give them props for that.
Actually, yeah. It's
right, but their food is shit.
Okay, I'm not getting them for a sponsor. No, that's okay. So, typical of me, we've gone like way long. So
Sorry.
I just get absorbed in the conversation.
Yeah.
So, to get more of you,
Right.
if people can handle that, how do they?
Yeah, I'm a lot to handle.
How do they reach you?
You can reach me directly at cat@actionincubator.com. Check my Facebook group, Driven Action. They can sign up for a free gift. It's at www.actionincubator.com/3 shifts, as in I still drive a stick shift. There's an S at the end there, and you will get your 3 shifts to bank 6+ figures in profits, not just revenues, with a hell of a lot less effort too. And I go through part of my signature system here that I talked about today. And all this is great, but guys, remember, you need to implement. It's not just about consuming content.
All right. Awesome. Thanks for being here, Kat.
Thank you.
And I invite you to tune in to the next program. I'm Sylvia Henderson, your host for Idea Success TV. See you next time.